Okay, get this. It all started with a smile, but not just any smile. You know the type. Too polished, too perfect, the kind that looks like it's been rehearsed in the mirror 1,000 times. Yeah, that kind of smile. Meghan Markle had it locked in. She knew exactly what she was doing when she invited Kern Lima, yes, the self-made billionaire, beauty boss, the grit-over-glamour queen, onto her podcast. On paper, it looked like a genius move. Power woman meets power woman. A total win-win. But oh no, behind the scenes, total disaster. A straight-up performance, a staged act. According to Jamie, what went down wasn't two women having an honest heart-to-heart. Nope. It was all lights, camera, action. Literally. Apparently, Meghan's team didn't just suggest topics, they sent Jamie a whole script. Talking points, where to pause, what emotion to show, even how the camera should catch those carefully timed, vulnerable moments. You know, that perfect glisten in the eye? Yeah, that was planned. And when the cameras shut off, boom, the vibe, gone. Just like that. Jamie says Meghan dropped the emotional act like she was shedding a coat in summer. That soft, fragile, wounded duchess? She vanished. What came next? A totally different woman, cold, sharp, CEO mode. And Jamie? She never forgot it. For months, she kept quiet. She didn't want drama. She didn't want to throw shade. But then, and this is the kicker, fans started reaching out, flooding her inbox, gushing about how inspired they were by Meghan's truth. And Jamie? She snapped. Because the woman they were praising, the one they thought was brave, raw, real, she didn't exist. Jamie didn't go whispering to gossip blogs. She didn't throw subtle shade in an interview. No, she took it to her own podcast, the very same one where Meghan dropped her now infamous episode, and then she told the world it was fake. Every breath, every sigh, every teardrop manufactured. What people thought was a vulnerable conversation, it was direction. And the internet, oh, it exploded. People weren't just shocked that Jamie said it. They were stunned she had the guts to say it out loud. And suddenly, the world's favorite truth teller was looking more like a manipulator. One who knew exactly how to package pain, profit off it, and sell it as authenticity. Ouch. Jamie made it crystal clear. She didn't want to stay silent anymore, not while people were being played, and that's when the real chaos started. Meghan, livid, pacing, screaming, demanding damage control. Insiders say she lost it. She wanted the episode pulled offline. She wanted statements, corrections, anything. But Jamie? She wasn't backing down. Oh no, she doubled down. She promised receipts, a follow-up Q&A, and people were ready. Suddenly, this wasn't some petty online spat. It was turning into a full-blown brand crisis. Meghan had been rebuilding, slowly, quietly, trying to shake off the royal drama and pivot to something new. Think, Oprah vibes, spiritual growth, inner peace, healing. But now, even Oprah was stepping back. Word started swirling that Meghan didn't get an invite to a fancy dinner hosted by Oprah's inner circle. Yeah, that Oprah, the same one who gave Meghan the stage of a lifetime. In Hollywood, that's a red flag. No invite means no trust. And no trust? That's career death. Suddenly, Meghan's name vanishing from boardroom talks. One rep from a major fashion house confessed they were pressing pause on a partnership. They didn't want the risk, not while words like manipulative were trending alongside her name. And let's be real, for someone who once locked down that multi-million-dollar Spotify deal, this was brutal. Spotify? Already gone. Now people were whispering that Netflix might be next. Oof. And the worst part? Once folks started digging, they started connecting dots. Her podcast, Archetypes, criticized for being shallow. Her Netflix doc, underwhelming numbers. The ever-changing public image, from royal rebel to mental health advocate to empowerment icon to wellness queen. It all started looking a little too curated. Suddenly, people weren't just side-eyeing her. They were asking, was any of it real? It was like the curtain had been yanked back. People began revisiting old interviews. That Oprah moment, the one that shook the palace. Suddenly, folks were asking if that too was scripted. The perfectly timed voice crack, the slow, deliberate tear. Was it all just part of a plan? That wedding speech Meghan gave, the one everyone said sounded like a TED Talk. Yeah, people weren't hearing sincerity anymore. They were hearing strategy, branding, and that's what stung. This wasn't just a woman speaking her truth. It was someone packaging her pain, selling it, monetizing it, and calling it real. Jamie's claim that Meghan's team handed her scripted pauses, emotional cues, that wasn't just branding, that was performance. It hit people like a slap. The public didn't mind that Meghan was flawed, but what they hated was the possibility that every flaw was filtered through a lens, every heartbreak rehearsed. Suddenly, Hollywood's tone shifted. Producers who'd worked with Meghan started talking, quietly, carefully. One Netflix editor claimed she was obsessed with Final Cut approval, not just to look good, but to control every single frame. Another said it was like editing a documentary where the subject thinks she's the director. Oof! And her fans? Even the diehards? Some of them were Shaken. A tweet that blew up said it all. I defended Meghan for years. I believed her. Now I feel played. It wasn't rage, it was disappointment. That deep, bitter feeling of betrayal when someone you admired turns out to be just another performer. Behind closed doors, Meghan's camp was scrambling. Crisis PR firms were called. Lawyers were looped in. There were talks of potential lawsuits, counter-interviews, even another tell-all. This time, Meghan reclaiming her own story. But as days passed, silence. No rebuttal, no denial, no powerful statement. And that silence, it was deafening. Meanwhile, Jamie, she wasn't done. She teased unedited audio. Real, raw, off-camera recordings of their podcast taping. The internet practically combusted. The teaser clip was ice cold. Jamie sat there, calm and clear. This isn't about tearing someone down. It's about the truth, and I still have the tapes. That one line, boom. Reddit threads popped off. TikTok went wild. Everyone wanted to know what Meghan sounded like when she thought no one was listening. Suddenly, Meghan's circle was shrinking, fast. People who used to post about her, defend her, celebrate her, silent. Or worse, backing away. A former collaborator reportedly told Variety, "Everyone's afraid of being looped into the fallout. The vibe now is, keep your name away from hers. You know it's bad when Hollywood's golden rule kicks in. Protect your brand, not your friendships." And even Archewell, Meghan and Harry's foundation, wasn't safe. Sponsors started whispering. Donors asked questions. Was the impact real, or was it just another polished illusion? Some backers began reconsidering, because when your brand is built on honesty, and suddenly that honesty is in doubt, that's not just a PR hit, that's a financial bleed. Here's the thing, if Dior walked, if Netflix bailed, if new partnerships disappeared into thin air, Meghan's carefully built empire, already shaky after that brutal Spotify exit, could totally collapse. This was bigger than a podcast feud. This was about the very foundation of her public identity. The woman who said she was fighting the system now looked like she had been gaming it all along. Every emotional moment, every heartfelt anecdote, every raw confession, it all seemed rehearsed. And people weren't just second-guessing Meghan. They were wondering if the entire narrative had been engineered. And Jamie? She didn't come off like a hater. She wasn't bitter. She wasn't angry. She sounded exhausted, like someone who had stayed quiet for too long, like someone who couldn't stomach being part of a lie anymore. Her podcast wasn't a hit piece. It was a confession. A woman saying, I was fooled too, but now I'm done pretending. And that's why it hit so hard. She didn't need to scream. She didn't need to drag. Her calm truth was louder than any viral clip. Meanwhile, in the middle of the storm, one name just kept coming up. Oprah, the woman who once handed Meghan a global microphone, who helped her torch the palace's image, was suddenly silent. No Instagram post, no tweet, no public defense. People close to Oprah whispered that her team felt used, that maybe, just maybe, that headline-grabbing interview was more performance than confession. If Meghan fooled Oprah, who hasn't she fooled? That's where it cut deep. Because Oprah doesn't lend her brand lightly. If she was misled, the ripple effects would reach every corner of Hollywood. And now, all eyes were on Jamie's next episode. She promised tapes, receipts, behind-the-scenes audio, and if she delivered what she claimed, there might be no room left for spin. Sources say Meghan's team is working overtime. Crisis PR, legal threats, quiet calls to partners, anything to stop the bleeding. But here's the catch. It might already be too late. The damage isn't just online. It's not just gossip. It's cultural. The story of a woman who used her trauma to rise has now morphed into one about a woman who used trauma as a tool. And that twist, that betrayal, it hits differently because this time, Meghan doesn't control the cameras. She doesn't hold the script. She can't choose the lighting. This time, the world is watching, but without filters. And the truth, it might just be louder than any brand can silence.